morning, Rachana. How are you today?
I'm good, Lakshmi. Thanks so much. Hope you are doing good too.
Yes, I am doing good. We are welcoming a very special person today. Her name is Rachana Prasad. We will know more about her work in the next few minutes. And a very warm welcome to you today. I always was interested in you from the date I have seen the play Merchant of Venice, which you have directed. And I realized it is from the Chiranthana group. What is Chiranthana about, and how did it start, and what do you do?
Okay, so I started my career in an IT company. So I remember this was when I was 21 years old. So when I went in for my first job interview, it was actually for the post of a front office executive. I had seen an ad in the newspaper and I went in for that. But the manager who was interviewing me, the HR person, asked if I could help him with human resources. I said, I'm clueless about it. He said, don't worry, I'm going to train you on it. And he took me on as a HR executive. So that was my first job. So that's how my stint with HR actually started. Then I moved on to an ad agency where I was overlooking the activities of the admin and the entire HR functions of that company. And then my daughter happened. So when she was around 8 months old, she was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder, which resulted in a global developmental delay, as in the delayed milestones. I decided that I'm going to be working with her, if at all I would work. So I took a break for a while then, and for a very long time, it was only me and her. I worked very hard with her, did every possible thing that any other mother would do when child needs help. But one day I also realized that I should also do something else for myself because I was getting so consumed with this, So that was when I started developing these soft skills modules, thanks to my HR background, where I started bringing in a lot of theatrical elements, art forms. I wanted my daughter to be a part of the process. So they had told me way back, so the more you stimulate her, better it's going to be for her. So my entire focus revolved around that at that point. So when I just told a few people that this is what I have developed. So basically, communication skills for children with a lot of fun activities, self-awareness for children with a lot of fun activities, and speaking on stage with a lot of fun activities, with a lot of theater blend and music blend and all that. So I remember having about 8 children for my first ever workshop, just about 8, and I had done it in a very small place. Uh, so luckily for me, people started liking what I was doing. More children started coming, doing slightly bigger productions. I started using theater as an important medium. And for a very long time, a lot of my work revolved around children, theater, developing modules for them, and helping them gain confidence, teaching them how to speak on stage, get better with vocabulary and things. Schools started approaching us. So this
Very
word of mouth
interesting.
as referral point can be very strong, So some of the schools started approaching me and they said, why don't you conduct some programs for us? Take over our annual productions and train children on theater and talking skills and things like that. That happened for some time. And we also got offers from colleges. Some of the colleges approached me and said, Rachana, would you be able to do it? So initially it was only me, but slowly I had to start building a team, put people on job, and ensure that the execution happens. And I wanted to give it a name. One day I remember it was as simple as I was sitting and I was doing something, and somebody asked, "What is the name of your workshop?" I mean, that was when I remember asking my mom, who was in the kitchen, people are asking me to name this program. She said, instantly, she said, Chiranthana is a nice name.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh wow, Chiranthana, infinite, the spirit that never dies. I like how Chiranthana happened. And so much of work going into it. I tied up with organizations like ISKCON and Akshay Patra, did a lot of rural intervention programs for them. Simultaneously, I was also working with a lot of special needs children, worked in special ed schools, started doing one-on-one sessions for children with disabilities, IIT of Karnataka to understand more about special needs. My friend one day said, I mean, why don't you give a little more structure to it and make it into an organization? Uh, because you're already doing so much work. So he said the best thing for you to do, since you are in the social space and doing so much for children, I think you should register it as an NGO. So that was when I went ahead and I formed a trust. So this was in the year 2013. Yeah, that's how Chiranthana happened.
I find a lot of interesting aspects in what you have told. One is, teaching children how to be on stage with lot of playful activities. So I'm sure you must be a favorite of the children as well. So, what other programs do you run at your school?
This happened about 1.5 years ago. So I also realized that I was traveling a lot on work. There were a lot of freelance, sessions happening, a lot of consultations happening. Uh, I wanted something closer home, and I also wanted something where I had the freedom and the liberty to do what I really wanted to. I am a strong advocate of using art forms and stress-free working environment, stress-free schooling. So I started the school very close to my place. I took a small place under rent and hired some good teachers.
Mhm.
So currently, what we are doing at school, we have three levels. We have an elementary level, we have a secondary and senior secondary level. So we do a lot of therapeutic interventions like and technical training for children about 12 years of age. So basically, we try and see if they fall into the educable category. We try and help them pass 10th and 12th grades through our open schooling we see if we can, put them onto a job, if we can at least train them to make them introduced an interesting program, a computer program called Scratch,
Hmm.
which enhances the lateral thinking and creative thinking abilities of a child. That is doing pretty well. Our children just love to solve riddles on our Scratch modules. And very recently, we took on an initiative where six of my children got placed at a coffee shop in Bangalore. So we are training them on food production, billing, front office, store, and things like that. So it was going fine, and then the Corona thing happened. But the online classes are still happening. We get a chef every week to give them demo classes, and we have these continuous interventions with children, but hoping for this mess to come down as soon as possible so that we can resume it very soon.
Yeah.
Also, the latest initiative, apart from this started just about 3 months ago, a latest venture of mine, which is called as Art Courtyard Productions, which is a Chiranthana offshoot. So all the employability and all the training part of Chiranthana comes under Art Courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to do under Art Courtyard Productions is create a platform, an online platform, where all people with disabilities can providing online. We are going to be introducing about 25 to 30 new courses. We have just started
Mm-hmm.
with about 6, 7 now. So these are online classes, and people with disabilities from all over the world can just study from wherever they are, avail our services from wherever they are. Yeah, this is an ambitious project that I've embarked upon. So this is a different entity, Art Courtyard, but it is obviously everything is interlinked.
So I see the computer part of it, and making them employable in different jobs. So it's great to see that you are trying to make it global, scale up global. They will invest time into this and ensure that the community there, wherever they are, is employable. What are your dreams to make them further employable? This is a challenging period and challenging time for all of us. But beyond this COVID, how would you, what is your vision to see them being employable?
At least we feel very responsible as an organization. Uh, we feel every child who comes to us should have a roadmap,
Hmm.
should have a plan where the child goes to the next level after studying with us or after undergoing training with us. So we are trying to talk to a lot of employers as well, to tie up and make collaborations and things like that. But it takes time, because for
Hmm.
people to take on someone with challenges, that too people with intellectual challenges. See, we have a lot of employability happening around physical disabilities, right? Even the blind, or even the
Hmm.
hearing impaired. So they are getting into different jobs, which is a great thing. But for someone with an intellectual concern, disability, it is a big challenge to employ them at right places. First of all, train them and bring them to the level of employability, which is a huge task. Getting people
Yeah,
to believe in them, which is the second big task.
totally agree.
Reassuring people that yeah, if on job these guys will do a good job, just give them a chance.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it will take time, but I see people more accepting today than before. They are very forthcoming. They're more sensitive than how it used to be 20, 25 years ago, is what I feel, which is a great thing. uh, so it will take time. So basically, as an organization, we are trying to reach out to employers, trying to make those initial collaborations and tie-ups, so that children who come to us have a plan.
Yeah, I see the responsibility part for unfolding in different ways and different modes in your response. And then taking a step back, I see that Chiranthana has sprouted from your own experience of having a special needs child. So, how is it to have a child with special needs, and what is the transformation that happened within you?
So initially, it is very tough for any
Mhm.
parent,
Yeah.
especially if you're a first-time parent. I was 26 when my daughter was born. So you go through a lot of trauma, a lot of frustration, a lot of acceptance issues initially. So it happens to all of us. We are all humans. It's but natural.
Yeah.
Um, what is worse is when people come to you and make it more miserable, right? So you have
Yeah.
people giving you uh, unwanted advice, people judging you on different grounds. I can tell you the weirdest things I have heard from people during, I mean, all these years. So things like, I remember my child got glasses very early on. So whenever I took her out, people used to ask, I mean, don't you give her carrots every day to well for her? And and she started walking very late, and she used to be a very plump child as well. So she started walking only by the age of 3.5 or 4 years. And I remember carrying her for all my sessions, and I used to carry her and conduct all my theater sessions and all my soft skill training programs with children. So people used to ask me weird things like तुमने कोई पाप किया होगा पिछले
Oh
जन्म
boy.
में. And once I remember, as a family we went out of India, and there was a friend of mine who commented saying, you know what, I discussed this with my husband, and he said, how could they travel with a child like this? I mean, don't they feel guilty about enjoying? I mean, I had taken my child along as well, but as a family they feel that you lose the right to live.
That is
Right?
so. I mean, I'm at a loss for words
Yeah, right.
even to listen as a third person. I'm
Exactly.
sure you must have gone through.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I mean, people start judging you from every angle. And so I've been there, listened to all that. So that makes it even worse for you as a parent. See, as a society, I think once people are more accommodating, but I'll tell you what, there are 90% of the time people are great, but you have this 10% who will really make it bad for you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and that happened. And also as parents, you feel what is it that you could do for your child more. It's like you're always in that thinking mode. There have been times when I used to be thinking about her 24/7. What extra can I do to to make this all right, to make her all right? So you're in that mode 24/7. It's very consuming as a parent. See, parenting itself is a very consuming process. I have another child too now. I have a younger son. So parenting is a very consuming process. But then when you have someone with special needs, it becomes even the more difficult because of the responsibilities that you have. It's not easy. It's a beautiful experience, right?
Yeah,
I mean, the very fact that you can accept this, work towards this, and the very fact that you will realize that life does not have a formula. This is a big realization or a transformation that has happened to me within myself. So I started asking myself questions like, who sets these rules for us? Why should a child have a milestone? Why can't a child develop at his or her own pace? So, what do we mean by mainstream? And which mainstream are we trying to push our child into?
yeah.
Right? So,
Very
these
true,
were
very
questions
true.
that I started asking myself. So, I mean, even people who have set these formulas are people like you and me,
Yes.
right? It's
Yes.
not written from somewhere up and sent down, right? So, this is one thing. And also, I started realizing the importance of giving back to society. So
Hmm.
20 years back, when I was newly married, I was a lot more naive. Uh, it was all about probably I, me, myself, my family, my husband, my parents, just that circle that you think of, right? But
Yeah.
today, I think uh, I really look at a community as a whole. I'm able to come out of that shell, and I can tell myself that the minute you start giving, I realize that you start receiving more. That is
Yeah.
a beautiful learning that has happened to me, at least, because the more you give, the more you keep receiving. Even when I, just to give you an example, when I started the school, I had no monies at all. So all I had to do was to write to a few known contacts and tell them, hey, listen, I'm doing something like this. I need a few computers, I need a few tables, a few chairs. You don't believe, Lakshmi, the way people actually started helping me with this. I didn't invest on anything. Everything was given. They came and they kept it at school and went. So this is a very powerful lesson that I have learned for myself. When you give unconditionally, you will
Yeah,
receive unconditionally too.
yeah,
Yeah, because
very
there have
true.
been times when I have worked for no monies at all and have been, scolded back at home by my parents, especially. What are you doing with yourself? Parents being parents, sometimes they say, I mean, you're working so hard, and there should at least you should be compensated for the work you put in, for the efforts you put in, and things like that. I mean, they only wish me good, I know. Uh, but I think somewhere it pays off. That
Yeah.
is one transformation that has happened from within, I would say.
I see that it will pay off by means of your legacy and how you leave your footprint here. So that is one. And I also see that your journey has been very unconventional throughout. And also, you have transformed yourself from, having only your daughter as your world to giving it to the society and making her part of the society, and at the same time taking the society into your fold. So the I see the journey two ways. So do you have any advice for parents or caretakers who are with such children or
One thing is definitely, see, I see a lot of parents even now who come to us, uh, who wouldn't want to talk about the problem. Even when a child is 15 or 16 years of age, they try to hide the problem. They say, because of the fear of society or the fear of failure of the child. I understand they have their own concerns. But I feel the more open about it, the easier it is for you.
yeah,
And people also will start helping you. There are some mean people everywhere. I mean, you can't avoid that. But people will be more forthcoming as you open up, and you will also have to choose wisely. So when I
yeah,
say open up, you have to choose your people wisely. You need to only take professional help. That is something I would like to tell all parents. They get into, they go and ask wrong people for advice, so it doesn't
mm,
work.
mm,
So they just, end up being more disappointed. So, see, people like to thrive on your weaknesses all the time,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, uh, that is a right choice that you have to make. Even if you have to ask for help, you need to know whom you have to ask for help. You have
yeah,
to be, and also the second point I would like to tell all parents is to have a life of their own as well. See,
yeah,
this is going to be your lifelong challenge, your
yeah,
lifelong responsibility as a parent. So, on one hand, as you're trying to empower the child, as you're trying to work with the child, you also need to take care of yourself. You
yeah,
need to be
yeah,
happy, because I believe that only a happy mother can raise a happy child.
yes,
So,
yes,
if you want to be a career person, there's nothing wrong with it. It's okay for you to travel on work. I travel on work. So, initially, my daughter had issues with it, but now she's absolutely fine with it. She's become more independent because of that. See, there are no set rules. It doesn't mean that just because your child is a little different, you have to give up on yourself, your identity. You have to become so morose, so dull, have no life. No, I mean, that doesn't work at all. In fact, it should be the other way around. You
yeah,
should be that great example for your children, great inspiration for your children.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So that is the second thing I would like to tell. And the third advice is, see, parents are always in a hurry to bring that change in their child's life,
mm,
right? So please, and as a result, they keep changing schools, they keep changing therapies. uh, they don't have that patience. The minute a child comes to a school, the child will need at least about 6 months to 1 year to adjust to that environment.
Mm.
So let the child be. So the first year, don't expect anything of intervention or any, drastic, dramatic changes. It's only after the child settles in, the child will learn a lot of new things. So a lot of parents make this mistake of frequently changing schools for their children.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and they never find a perfect school, let me tell you. Whether it's a special school or a regular school, you will never find perfect people, perfect school, perfect, circumstances. So you
Yeah.
have to do with what you have.
Yes, I agree. I agree. The settle down period and how the child will take into the environment is very, very important.
Important. And don't use your child for your trial and error, and give the child the space, treat him or her as anybody else.
Mm.
It's okay to, in fact, I had written an article very recently as to how I am an imperfect mom. you
Mm.
know I get them to eat a lot of junk sometimes when I'm in a very low phase. I feel it's okay, just go do whatever you want to in my kitchen. So I do that. I miss my schedule with them sometimes. I don't sit with them every day. I think 3 out of uh, 4 times in a week, especially now during corona times, I'm missing my schedule with them. So I feel it's okay. It's all so it's not always necessary to be that perfect mom. So it's more about enjoying with your child.
Yeah.
Rules are good, but it's sometimes great to break rules.
It's okay to break the rules. Rules are meant to be
Yeah,
broken.
absolutely. End of the day, what you're trying to do is to raise a happy child.
Yes.
So when your
Yes.
child is happy, everything else is taken care of. Even your child listens to you. Children are so beautiful. They're so unconditional.
I'm so glad that you find it okay to not run by the clock, and I find it okay as well. You have done and walked through different phases while building up Chiranthana as a mother, as an entrepreneur, as a teacher, as a person who is, putting this thought across and generating ideas or ideating. So, how difficult was it for you as a woman and as a woman who's an entrepreneur? So, what were the challenges you faced and how did you work through?
Um, See, multitasking is something that a woman has to always be ready for. So we are great multitaskers. I think in the name of empowerment, we are only working harder than before, right?
Yeah.
We are trying to do so many things because we want to work, we want to feel good, we want to be in the race. So sometimes when I actually sit back and think, at least I had a purpose to, do all this and start all this. But I'm realizing that I have very little of me time.
Hmm.
And, uh, yeah, there are times when I put my kids to sleep at around 10:30 or 11, and then I sit to work, and it goes on till 3 or 4 in the morning. And then again, I have to be up by 7:30 or 8 now that it is Corona. And if not, I have to be up by 5:30.
Hmm. Hmm.
And and the expectations on a woman is always much higher. Even today, my parents being parents, they are extremely supportive and extremely lovable, and overly caring. That is the problem I have with them. They keep asking me questions like, okay, you're doing so much, but you don't have a support. You're one woman who is struggling. I'm like, don't say you're one woman who is struggling. It's okay. Because such things are never said to a man, right? There are so
Yeah.
many male
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, and when they set out on a journey like this, nobody says, who is there to support you.
Yeah.
The minute you get back home, uh, your role changes immediately,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
So you have to immediately enter the kitchen, take care of your kids. So I think the way we've all been taught from very early on. I
Hmm.
think intrinsically also we are nurturers, women. You know, the
Yeah.
minute you get back home, your life revolves around them. You feel guilty when you're outside because you always think about what your kids might be doing back home. Are they fine? There are some psychological aspects, the educational aspects, the emotional aspects that I think of. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
for me, the learning should not stop in whichever form. So as long as they are learning through dance or through watching TV or playing with their friends, I'm okay with it. But and being an entrepreneur is definitely not easy. Since you asked about entrepreneurship, see, as you go up the ladder, I'm realizing that it's quite a lonely space out there. Yeah, you have everyone, but sometimes you feel you have no one. And
Yeah.
it's your dream that you're trying to realize. So you will have to do it all by yourself. People will come in different roles, they'll play different roles in your lives and they will go. But you will have to nurture it like another baby of yours. And
Yes.
it's
Yes.
extremely risky. It's a very risky thing to do as well, because you never know, especially now, in times like this. You have to constantly be on job, constantly do different things, think out of the box, keep reinventing yourself. So yeah, it's a tough space.
You would be an inspiration for many to work through and come out of it. And it's very good talking to you, Rachna, this morning. And thank you for giving us a peek into your journey.
Thank
And I wish you all the best in all your endeavors in future. So see you soon. As soon as the COVID
thank
ends, the first thing, there are a few people I would like to meet, and you are one of them.
Sure, sure, sure. Likewise, looking forward to meeting you as well, Lakshmi. Thank you for this wonderful interview.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you
Bye
so
bye.
much. Bye.